Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Harriet Fear, and I'm the Chief Exec of One Nucleus, for those of you who don't know me in the team. I'm delighted to welcome you to this, the first of our Healthcare Technology Life Science Leadership series. We've been running the leadership series now for a few months. The first event was in oncology back in May. This is the second event, and then we have a third leadership series in January next year, focusing on CNS and ageing. And I'll talk in a moment about the rationale behind the Life Science Leadership series and what it's replaced in our portfolio of services to our members and to the wider UK and international life sciences community. So for those of you who aren't aware of what One Nucleus is or what we do, and I'm very conscious we have some international colleagues here and we have some non-members, we're the largest membership organisation for life science and healthcare companies in Europe, with just over 450 companies as members. And we cover the whole life science and healthcare space, from the S of SME right through to the large players. And I'm delighted to say today that we really do have some world-class speakers from some of those larger organisations to help inform and advise the debate that I hope we'll all have during the day. In terms of our mission, it's a really simple one. It's to maximise the growth and the competitiveness of our membership. And we do that in a variety of ways, with 5 pillars of activity, the largest one by far being our partnering and networking events, both large and small. Now, some of you may be aware that we merged the London and Cambridge regional networking organisations last year to form One Nucleus. And the reason we did that was because we got a very strong demand from members to, A, deduplicate activities in the UK, being very mindful of the fact that you all have very limited time, money and staff resource. And so we wanted to show that we're very open to working in a collaborative way with other parties. So what better way to underpin that than for 2 organisations to merge? We're a not-for-profit company, limited by guarantee, and I'm very proud of the fact that we receive no formal government funding. We receive sponsorship, and UK Trade and Investment is one of our sponsors today, for which we're very grateful. But ultimately, when we're making decisions about what we do, it's a very easy rationale. Is there a member benefit to the suggestion? If there is, then the answer is yes, or maybe, and if there isn't, then the answer is a very clear no. I'm very fond of the power of no, where it's not appropriate for our membership. So in terms of what we do, I say events and networking, bringing people together is our core business. And we have a number of events. The reason for the leadership series and why that's developed is through member feedback. We're constantly listening to what our members say, what their needs are, and how the climate's changing. And when we merged, it was a really great opportunity to look at and take a deep analysis of the activities that we were doing as London Biotechnology Network and as the old IRBI. And we didn't want to duplicate, and so we decided and took the rather rash move of not doing the annual Cambridge conference anymore. Some of you may remember a big 3-day partnering event that we used to do at Hingston at the Genome campus. And when we analysed that, we thought, well, we want to be very clear about why we're doing all the things we're doing. And whilst it was a nice event and people enjoyed themselves and made good contacts, it was 3 days and actually was rather expensive because we had a very formal partnering system that we needed to use because we had 1,000 partnering meetings to organise. So when we merged, we realised that actually Genesis, our annual international networking exhibition in London, should remain. Last year we had 750 delegates attend it. Our Bench to Boardroom event, which takes place in Newmarket, is our showcase for our excellence in service provision, both commercial and technical. But the Cambridge conference felt a bit dated, to be honest. Other organisations like BioEurope and EBD Group are doing great international partnering events. And again, we didn't want to duplicate. And we're large enough and strong enough and experienced enough to take some risks. And so we decided to listen to member feedback. And instead of a rather generic, long event at Hingston, we decided to break it down into smaller conferences along thematic lines. Celebrating Cambridge, celebrating the fact that lots of our members are based in Cambridge, and looking at the areas of excellence within our membership. And so that's how the leadership series was born. And so, as I say, we've had oncology, healthcare technologies today, and then CNS and ageing in January. And then in subsequent years, we'll have 3 each year, hopefully always at Clare College if they'll have us back and we don't do anything naughty today. And we'll take it from there and see how it goes. Feedback so far has been incredibly positive. The idea being that like-minded people are all in the room, and at the end of today, you can all see the tangibles that you've got out, or hopefully you will in time, from the relationships you develop, which will show that A, the money, and B, your time were worth it. So who's here today? Well, it's a really fantastic cross-section. We're about to hear from some fantastic speakers, but we have CEOs from life science and healthcare companies. We have business development people. We have investors. Importantly, we have both Cambridge and Oxford University represented with some groups that we've been working with at QTech and the Oxbridge Bioscience Roundtable. We've also got our technical and commercial, some of our technical and commercial service providers who crucially support the sector. And we also have, we're doing a staff exchange at the moment. I mentioned earlier that we want to deduplicate. We also want to work in partnership with others, which leads then to deduplication. And so One Nucleus and Medicine Valley Alliance have struck up an informal agreement to do a staff exchange. And we have Thomas Mortensen, who's the business development guy from MVA, with us here today. Is Thomas in the room yet? Yes. There he is. So if you want to learn more about Danish-Swedish collaborations, he's here to talk to you today. And then I'm going to go out to Copenhagen in November and spend time in a dark room with the CEO of MVA to talk about how they do things. Because I'm very conscious, I always want to keep our offer fresh and vibrant, and I think we can always learn from people who also do things very well. So I need to say some thank yous. I obviously would like to thank all of our speakers and our chairs today and all of you for coming. But I also would like to thank our sponsors. So obviously you'll see that we have UK Trade and Investment, who I mentioned previously, and Dave Levitt will be here. If he's not here already, is Dave in the room yet? No, he will be here. I'd like to thank Reddy and Gross as well, and I'd also like to thank Czech Invest, who you will see very ably and beautifully profiled in the room where we'll be having refreshments. And so for our Czech colleagues here today, I'd like to say, Ráda bych přivítala naše české přáteli, kteří sponsorují tuto konferenci. Vás jim si váží, podpory a těším se na další spolupráci. So for those of you who don't understand Czech, I'm sorry, and for those of you who do understand Czech, I'm sorry. So some housekeeping rules, just very quickly. A couple of things. No fire alarms planned. If you hear a female voice on the intercom, that will be warning us of the need to be alert for a potential incident. And then if you hear it followed up by a male voice, interesting how they've done the dynamics, saying get out, then we need to move and convene in the area at the very front of the building, which you'll have come in through where the parking is on the green there. Unfortunately, some BlackBerrys and iPhones may not work. Apparently, we've been told by Claire that that facility kicks in tomorrow. So for those of you who are interested in seeing if that works, do come to our January event. In terms of partnering, we've got over 200 meetings organised for the day, and Anita Howard of Yaya is up on the first floor. So any questions at all about partnering, do go and have a chat with her, and she can print off your partnering details for you. There are a few spaces left, so if anybody wants to have a partnering meeting that you haven't already set up, do have a chat with her. We've also got some filming going on today, as you can see. From 1 o'clock to 1:40, if I could ask you not to be in the auditorium unless you're using the facilities of First Sight, because we're going to be doing some interviews and some pitches for companies which will be taking place then. So that's pretty much it. In terms of drinks later on today, we're hoping, and I'm pretty sure it's a cast iron guarantee, that the drinks reception will be in the Scholars Garden, but I'll give you more information about that later. We'll all be going over in a kind of crocodile trail, hopefully, later on today. And then in terms of upcoming events that we're involved in or we're running, we've got a literature table at the front, so you can see what we're up to. And if gentlemen or gentle ladies from the Czech representation nobble you today for a business card, they're going to be bribing you with check beer and goodie bags. And then at the end of the day, there will be some prizes which will be announced in the garden. So be aware of that. It seems to be broadly alcohol-based bribery, I think is the way it's is the way it's looking at the moment. So the One Nucleus team are here to help you. Do just, obviously ask if there's anything at all that you need. And without further ado, I shall introduce you to David Phillips. David is one of the partners in one of the partners in SR1, and he's going to be talking to us today about pharma creativity, really, and supporting and financing and developing technology spin-out companies. He has a wealth of experience. He's part of GSK Corporate Venture Fund, specialising in, my understanding is he specialises in European-based investment activities. And he pioneers a new function to incubate and spin out technologies from GSK. So he's got a wealth of experience, as I say. He's worked for the Automation Partnership, he's worked for Glaxo Wellcome, he's worked for Medical Venture Management, and he tells me that he has a strong background in certainly successful businesses and deriving successful exits for companies as well. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to David. Thank you.